Never did I see the day or think there will be a situation in which Paul Finebaum would defend the Miami Hurricanes. Never thought I would see the day where that happens because this guy is the most wishy-washy mofo on the face of the earth. He goes from being a Hurricane believer to the Hurricanes lose, he dogs them out. They lose again, he dogs them out some more. This is the guy who flip-flops, but if Alabama loses, he ain't telling them to get dropped. But now, we got Mr. Paul Feinbaum today. He has some words about the CFP, and we're gonna let you hear him because hey, he said what he had to say, and I can appreciate it. I thank him for his candor, and let's listen to what Paul Feinbaum has to say about the CFP and the rankings that had Oregon ranked at 7, Oklahoma at 8, Notre Dame at 9, Bama at 10, BYU at 11, Utah at 12, Miami at 13, and Vanderbilt at 14. Let's jump right on in. But before we do, welcome back everyone to another edition of Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments. Appreciate y'all continued support of the channel. We're growing, we're growing, we're growing. Share it with your friends. Let everybody know. And every Monday night, 9 p.m., we do a live and we open the lines up. We want to hear what y'all have to say. And it's an opportunity for all of us to congregate together and be Hurricanes fans. We may not all agree all the time. In fact, we probably will disagree most of the time. But we get to chop it up. And this week, we got to play at Pitt. This week, we got one job to do. That's win at Pitt and dominate at Pitt. And if you don't dominate, you can't cry about it after. Don't cry about it if you don't dominate. It's just that simple. Well, let's listen to what Paul Feinbaum had to say, and we can get this party started right here. Let's go. So here we go. Right here, Paul Feinbaum sounds off on this thing about Oregon, Oklahoma, all the Notre Dame, Alabama. This is specific though to Notre Dame. So take a listen.
Paul, the idea that Miami beats Notre Dame head to head and remains behind them because of the quality of Notre Dame's losses seems to rub a lot of people the wrong way. How does it rub you?
It rubs me beyond the wrong way. And Greeny, I'll continue my rant about Notre Dame. Uh, I've been hearing, and you have been hearing because you lived near Notre Dame growing up, that Notre Dame, in college, I should say, that Notre Dame, there's a bias. There is a bias. Let's just go ahead and admit it. And this committee, I have no earthly idea why they can't move beyond it because they're supposed to be objective. But it just seems like let's always give Notre Dame the loss. And I feel badly for Miami. They got knocked out last year. They were the last team out along with Alabama. They did some of it to themselves, but they beat Notre Dame. Shouldn't head-to-head matter in college football or in any sporting event? But apparently to this committee, it does not matter at all.
All right, so that's Paul Feinbaum. A little bit, I mean, a little bit disingenuous about the Alabama thing last year because, well, if he recalls, Alabama had 3 losses. So they ranked Alabama ahead of Miami with 3 losses. Yeah, you lost on me on that one because we were behind. We would have gotten in if SMU had beaten Clemson. See, that's the thing. If SMU had beaten Clemson, we would have gotten into the playoffs. If SMU had beaten Clemson, Alabama would have gotten into the playoffs. See, you forget that part. And Alabama jumped us for some odd reason in the college football playoff after, if I recall correctly, after beating Auburn. I mean, after beating Auburn, I'm just confirming this, but I'm pretty sure. Last year, they were 9-3, and they went to the college football. They were ranked ahead of us after losing 24-3 to Oklahoma and then beating Auburn with 3 losses, and we were 10-2. So, yeah, that one's weak. But no, the thing about Notre Dame is real. It's completely real, and I do appreciate his energy, his voice, his passion and fire. Head to head doesn't matter, clearly. The fact that Miami's ranked behind Notre Dame right now is in itself a problem. I mean, in itself, it's a problem. And we all know this. But I do find it interesting that Paul Finebaum, who, earlier this year loved us, jumped on board, then jumped off the train. Now he's kind of jumping back on the train. It's a very interesting dynamic that the CFP has created because there are people that even in Paul Finebaum's eternal bias for everything SEC related and everything Alabama related, that you can still acknowledge that Miami belongs ahead of Notre Dame. I also wonder that maybe he says it because he thinks Alabama should be ahead of Notre Dame. It's always a possibility if he's trying to do it the slick ass Persian Bazaar way, like you hear in A Few Good Men. He kind of like tries to finagle the words to make them sound good. You know what I mean? But I gotta be real. It is the way a lot of people feel. In fact, most people who are unbiased to who they cheer for don't care about either team. In fact, it's better if they dislike both teams. Most of those people say, yo, they played. They played. And one team beat the other. And unless you finished 11-1, which Notre Dame is not, unless you finished 11-1, if you finish with the identical records, which they have right now, there's no reason on earth that you would not use that head-to-head matchup as a determining factor of who should be ranked ahead of who, and not basing it off who had the better losses when one of the losses was to the team that we're talking about. It is the direct comparison. One of your two losses was against me or the Hurricanes. It doesn't matter that we lost to SMU or to Louisville. We beat you. You didn't play them. You played us and we beat you. And on top of that, SMU might very well end up in the ACC championship game and potentially in the playoffs. Seriously. And I'll be real. Does that now value our loss to SMU more? Because I'm on this fence about SMU because I'm in a position where we need Duke to lose also. So when I look at this from that perspective, being that we need Duke to lose as well, and there's no guarantee that that will happen, I have this feeling in me that I almost, even though they're playing at home against Wake Forest, Duke and Wake Forest is 8-3. And while they're 4-3 in conference, they lost to Florida State, which I can't understand how they lost by 35 to Florida State. They lost by 1 to Georgia Tech. They should have won that game. I don't know how the hell they lost to Florida State 42-7. Like, that is insane. They beat Virginia. They beat SMU. But the fact that I gotta worry and hope that 3:30 game between Duke and Wake Forest, that Wake Forest wins that game, it almost has me wondering maybe I want SMU to win. And the reason I say that is this. We didn't play Virginia. Virginia is not my concern. Because since we didn't play them, I don't have to be concerned. We didn't play Duke. Don't have to be concerned about that. We did play SMU. This is where I'm conflicted. We did play SMU. You're using terminology like your loss is worse than the other, blase, blase. We lost on the road in overtime in a game we led by 3 with under a minute to go, and a penalty actually is why we lost the game at the end of the day. A penalty on a 4th and 8. And I'm not blaming the referees, but we lost that game in large part due to a penalty that probably should never have been called, a flag that should never have been thrown, that gave them an automatic first down on 4th and 8 because Mario Cristobal had to call a timeout or didn't realize blah, 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 whatever he did. And otherwise, we're sitting here looking at being 11-1, 10-1. We're not even talking about this. And then on top of that, we'd have to beat Pittsburgh this weekend regardless. But my thought now becomes if SMU wins and SMU goes to the ACC championship and SMU ends up playing Duke, they're definitely going to beat Duke. Definitely going to beat Duke. That now makes Miami's loss to SMU look better based on the committee and good and bad losses. So you're telling me that we lost to the actual ACC champion. See, that's what you now be telling me. So now you have to adjust your thinking about how the SMU loss is a bad loss. It's not a bad loss. They're not a bad team. Like the fact that we quantify an 8-3 team and call it a bad loss on the road on their field. It's not a bad. I mean, it's a disappointing loss for us, and for us, it's a bad loss. But calling it a bad loss as if we lost to some team that's 3-8, it's not what happened. We're not Alabama who lost to a team that's 5-6 and 2-6 in the ACC. We're not them. We're not Utah, who got drugged, whose only good win is over Arizona State without Sam Levitt. What are we talking about? So what the committee has done has now created a conundrum of which if Miami is not guaranteed to be in the ACC championship game, which means you tell me today, Virginia and Duke lose. Miami will play SMU in the ACC championship. I'll take that. But you know what? We better flip and win the ACC championship game over SMU if we're given a second chance at those guys. But that would be the only way that I will. That's like almost. I'm at that point now because I do believe Miami should be in the playoffs. This whole thing, you didn't earn it, you lost. All these teams have lost. Everybody's lost except for the top 3 teams in the country, and one of those top 2 will have lost before we get to the playoffs. In fact, we might have no one with undefeated records going into the playoffs. It's a possibility. But I do have the questions, in that regard of maybe if SMU wins out and they're 10-3 and they're the ACC champs, now you say, well, our loss couldn't have been that damn bad, right? Lost to the conference champion. It's a thought. It was a road game. We were winning by 3 with a minute to go. Shit happens. We held them to 20. We held them to negative 2 yards rushing through 4 quarters. But yeah, let me know y'all thoughts, man. Paul Finebaum sounded off, man, and I appreciate that. So y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. We will be here live Saturday, 11:50. Live watch party, Miami, Pittsburgh. Let's go. Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.